plays Cleveland 9-11 plus 127. Also in early action over in the Phillies game. Books really need this game to go under. We bet it over first 5, over 5.5, over 6. But they're getting so much one-sided public money on that over. No surprise. Colorado, Philadelphia. The bettors are just blindly betting that one over. And I'm seeing like 9 out of 10 bets, and over 90% of the money is on the over. So we're with the bettors on that one. And one more I'll pop out to you is LA. I think I gave LA Angels, but we also bet the over in the Angels game. We went over the 10, laid up to minus 125, 130. That's why you're looking at 10.5 right now. So that's some of the baseball that we got down early already. If you want to talk NBA, pretty simple. Public's coming right back with Minnesota. They bet them early, in game 1, and they're coming back with them in game 2. They're betting them with the points. They're teasing them just like Indiana yesterday, and they're money line betting the Minnesota side and betting the over as well. Now that over moved because the betting syndicates got down also. They went over up to over to like 216.5. That's why you're looking at 217.5 across the board. So you have the public and the sharps on the over in game 2 of Minnesota and Oklahoma City. As far as the side goes, wise guys haven't gotten involved yet. All the risk look like it's going to come from the public so far. It's on Minnesota. So unless the Sharps come in and take Oklahoma City in game 2, which historically has done well, the team that wins game 1 in this round of the NBA playoffs won game 2 69% of the time. But more importantly, when you look at all the rounds from the first round to the finals, it's exactly the same percentage, 69%. So the law of big numbers carries over even to the smaller sample size. So Oklahoma City wins this game too, at least historically 7 out of 10 times. But the bettors are looking for that trend to buck. Florida, Carolina, only NHL game tonight. Florida did the improbable. They won game 1 on the road. Again, only about 35% of teams have been able to do that throughout NHL playoff history. They did win game 1. Usually, at least 65% of the time in this round, a team like Carolina ties it up. And in all the rounds of the playoffs, it's about 62%. So I was a little surprised that this betting line wasn't a lot higher, that it's just based on history alone, based on the fact they lost game 1 and they have their backs against the wall. You don't want to go down game 2. The series is all but over if that happens. And yet, even with the public betting Carolina, you're not seeing the big move from the sports books. It's almost like they're willing to take this position, which is a telling sign for me. In fact, my sharpest book has it below minus 127. So you look at the square. I'm not going to call them out, but right now, if you look at the squares book on the board, a book that I can't bet into, they have minus 130. If you look at the sharpest books on the board, that book sharp action at the limit, they got minus 124, not even 125. So it looks like they're taking a position, at least on Florida, thinking that this is at worst a coin flip. So if you get plus money on Florida, at least from the market perspective, it seems to be a good bet. But again, you're bucking history. You're bucking a team with their back against the wall. So, it's a telling sign to see this money line so low.
To a no-run first inning from Ralph Michaels. We're 1-1 on these this week. Let's try to make it 2-1. He's looking at the Rangers and the Yankees, no-run first inning. Yankees 5-1 under last 6 games. Rangers have not scored a run in the first in any of those games. Yankees 13-2 to the under, only scored a run in the first themselves in 1 game. So you got 2 teams trending big time to the no-run in the first inning in the Rangers and the Yankees. Ross Benjamin likes the first half under in the Wolves and the Thunder, 110.5. Teams are 6-1 to the under. Last 7 times they've played each other, these 2 teams, all games this year, first half has gone under. Minnesota 10-0, first half under, following a loss by 10 or more points. Take a look at a couple of my free plays. I like Frederick Anderson under 23.5 saves, under in 7 straight games. Only had 15 saves in game 1 against Florida, and Carolina hasn't allowed more than 21 shots on goal in 7 games. So they're not even getting over this 23.5 shots on goal. And Anderson was terrible in the first game. So I like that one. And of course, it's Thursday. We got to do a darts play. I think the Luke Darley is in play, guys. You can parlay Luke Littler and Luke Humphreys both to win. Littler's got a good matchup against Stephen Bunting, who's been over the course of the season pretty bad in the Premier League. He's getting better. And then you got Luke Humphreys versus Rob Cross. Rob Cross inconsistent. I like the way Humphreys is playing right now. So a lot of these plays can be at the Wager Talk free picks page. Go there if you want some more information and you want some more free picks and some write-ups about some of the games. So again, Rangers, Yankees, no run first inning, first half under on the Wolves and Thunder, Frederick Anderson under 23.5 saves, and the Luke darts Darley. Let's talk the Thunder and the Wolves. Thunder minus 7.5 over under is at 216. I saw this one at 217.5 last night. So there's definitely been some movement. So let's take a look at what happened in game one. Small sample size, but we gotta talk about what happened with Minnesota. So McDaniels, Gobert, Conley, and Naz Reid combined for 20 points. My opinion, that's just not going to continue. Dante DiVincenzo, 3 of 14 from the field. The Wolves, 15 of 51 from 3. And the Thunder, they didn't even need to take very many threes. 11 of 21 as a team. The starters only made 3 of them. So the starters were getting to the basket. They're getting high percentage shots. 17 turnovers for the Wolves. And you look at the stat sheet. Thunder had more rebounds, more assists, and fewer turnovers. If you're out rebounding and getting more assists and you're turning the ball over fewer times than your opponent, you're going to give yourself a great position to win and win by margin. I did look at this. So the Wolves have lost 3 games in the postseason, and they all have looked the same. Take their first loss. They score 85 points in game 2 against LA. Next game, they win 116-104. Game 1 against Golden State, 88 points. Next game, they win 117-93. Can they rebound against Oklahoma City? I think they played as bad as they possibly could in game 1. Rudy Gobert was in foul trouble less than 2 minutes into the game. I think he's going to get played out of the rotation here. And I just don't think Naz Reid is going to continue his funk. Previous 2 bad games in the playoffs for the Wolves, they've rebounded and played well. I don't know if they win outright, but can they keep it close? Yeah, I think they can. Timberwolves plus 7.5 would be the way that I would look at this one if you're looking at a spread.
So we got Lucas Giolito, who was really good 5 years ago, and we have Gabe Povich, who's never been good. So how do we approach this game? I have the Red Sox better than the Orioles in almost every category, but just a little bit better. I got them both batting pretty mediocre, around 15 out of 30 teams. And looking at the bullpen, both bullpens below average. This includes current form. It doesn't mean that they're always below average. It just means like right now they're performing below average in Major League Baseball. I have them both ranked right around 16. And starting pitching, I have both of these guys ranked almost towards the bottom out of 200 pitchers. So if anything in this game, I would take an over. And I just looked at Pinnacle and it's 8. So I think over 8 would be a good way to approach this game because both bullpens are performing somewhat poorly, but both starting pitchers are just absolutely horrible right now. I think even mediocre lineups would be capable of getting over an 8 in this one. And if you got a 4-4 game, you're going to go over. So I think over is the way to go in this one. But first, let me get to the Mariners and Astros. So this game is the biggest mystery box of the day. We got George Kirby going for Seattle, and it's going to be his first start of the season, coming off injury. And we got Lance McCullers, who has a couple starts under his belt, but he's performed horribly. However, Lance McCullers is a pretty good pitcher. I don't know what's wrong with him this year. If you remember when the Astros were making a playoff run, he was their go-to guy. He was really good, had an ERA under 2, and he was just dealing. Since he's come back, he's been horrible. I have him ranked on a curve of 30. I have him ranked 28 out of 30 starting pitchers, which is really bad. George Kirby's the thing. I don't know what to really expect from him. And both teams are not really batting very well right now. They're both in the bottom 20 of major league teams. The one thing I do like is Seattle's bullpen. They're performing quite well right now. And Houston's bullpen's performing quite well as well. So how do you approach a game where you have 2 bad starting pitchers? Well, not necessarily bad, but used to be good and performing poorly starting pitchers. 2 lineups that are performing kind of poorly at the moment, and 2 solid bullpens. No it might be a little dangerous, but I think under is the only way to go in this game. It's gonna don't bet the farm. Make a small play on the under in this one.
Yes.
Make a small play on the under in this one. This is really a mystery box because we don't know what to expect from Kirby. I don't expect either of the starters to go very deep in this one, and I think it'll be bullpen reliant. So in that case, I think they're both pretty solid. I would go under in this one.
Carolina has now lost 13 straight Eastern Conference Finals games dating over the last 15 years. So 13 straight losses in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's beyond ridiculous, obviously. Head coach Rob Brindamore, he actually scored a goal a game winner in Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals against Buffalo, but that was all the way 19 years ago. You mentioned, Andy, earlier, I was listening to you, Frederik Andersen. He's just been so good leading up to this point, up until Game 1. He hasn't had to do a lot, as you mentioned as well. He was basically leading all goaltenders in every statistical category. I definitely underestimated Florida in Game 1 there. I thought it would be exhausted after coming from behind to knock off the Leafs in 7 games. But now I really do think that Florida's primed for a letdown here. After that 7-game series win over Florida, now it's managed to get the split over the first 2 games here and shock them there. And so, yeah, I think Carolina will bounce back here. They couldn't have played any worse. Frederik Andersen couldn't have played any worse. And so in their biggest game of the year, I'm suggesting a play on Carolina right around -130.